Hi, everyone. Hi, my name is Dan Nolan. I'm the managing broker of Exit Realty Solutions out of Schererville, Indiana, proudly serving the Illinois and Indiana border. Yes, we do go the extra mile. That's what it takes. And sometimes you just got to do it right from the get go. And that's what today is all about. I know we've seen some changes in today's marketplace. Yes, the paperwork is going to change and things like that, but it's also because we leave dark holes within the system. And if you're a newer broker, you probably didn't know about board fees and how things work that way, and the different things that you put into your business plan doesn't typically get discussed very well until after you get your license. I want to stop that. And one of the things that I want to bring back to this system is, we're supposed to be making our phone calls, but how do we know if we're doing it right? The do not call list has a $25,000 fine for every phone call that you make to a phone number that is on the do not call list. And there are some states that have their own do not call list. So we're going to go through some of this. We're going to make sure that you stay compliant with the do not call procedures. What is a do not call? What isn't? How to get on the list and how to check numbers so that you don't fall into the trap of the government fining you for a phone call you didn't check. So let's go through this. So what we have is the Federal Trade Commission, the FTC, controlling the do not call list. And they have procedures, pretty much like how Illinois and Indiana has set up their broker portals. You have a sign on screen, and then you can go in deeper into the areas that you want to work in. And this is similar to that. You're going to see a couple of sideways things. And then there's some things that you're never going to get. So I got everything in order. If you are following along, hit the pause button when you get stuck, and I will help you through that as we go through the entire system. This is not a verification friendly system. They want to verify you. You can't check their work. I will show you where this whole thing is on you and how to do it easily. Cool. Good. Let's get started. Okay. The do not call list was put in order because of people making phone calls to people who don't want phone calls. Makes sense, right? So what we're going to do is we are going to look at the rules, look at who the players are, and we're not going to go into the ones that are, say, violating. We just want to be the ones that are not violating. Good enough? Okay, so let's move on. So the do not call list was put together because of the flood of before robocalls even transpired. They just didn't want phone calls. And it's your phone number. So the FTC said, fine, we'll make a database. But there are some calls that can still get through legally. That would include political calls, which is that season. You may see a few. You can just put them in your spam folder. They're allowed. Charitable phone calls, you might get a phone call from Homes for Heroes or somebody of that nature if they are looking for if it's a charity phone call, that's allowed. Debt collectors, yeah, you're going to have to remember the numbers as they come in, but they are allowed to make phone calls from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. Purely informational phone calls. Interesting. And surveyors. So you can do, if you are in those five categories, you can make your phone calls. It just can't be a sales. Okay. So, how do we check these phone numbers? Well, let's start at the nuts and bolts of this. There are sometimes two do not call lists that you should be aware of. I know a lot of my brokers are out of Florida, Indiana, Tennessee got oh my God, Tennessee and Colorado. What happened there? But they have their own do not call list. Today is just about the do not call list for the FTC. And I guess I'll throw in a little bit about Indiana's do not call list at the end too. Now, there are fees for signing up on the do not call list, of course. And there's also fees for not checking the numbers on the do not call list. A little bit cheaper to do it so that you can at least get it for free, right? So I'm going to show you the steps on how to get each of these your area phone numbers scrubbed off of the do not call list. If you do want to get an entire area code, they will download it to you once you're confirmed. They will compress a file for you, and you can have every phone number and any phone number you want. Today is just about checking phone numbers and not phone numbers that you have permission to call previously. Okay. That's the other thing too. If you've already been authorized to give them a call and they say don't call again, don't call them again. But you did have authorization to make that phone call. So let's get registered here. We're going to go to telemarketing.donotcall.com and we're going to register as a new user. Yes. If you have been registered before, uh, and you haven't logged in the last 6 months, you're going to end up going back through new. So let's start with new. Just remember, every 6 months, go visit the list to make sure your list is full. Organization, I just put down my name, I filled in my address, where I live, all that, and it took me down to where my phone is. So I put in my cell phone and I skipped the secondary number. Less is more in this case, as far as I'm concerned. Then I put in my business downloader email and then repeated it and then I hit continue. Now you're going to see this screen. It doesn't quite look like this. I had to edit it down a little bit. But on the create profile certification, you will always, before you get into the next step, you will always have to certify that you are the person using the list. Okay. So you're going to see this as you log in, as you go through checking things, you're going to see it again. So just be aware, click yes, certify and submit. Moving on. So now you got your information submitted and they got back to you with your organization ID, your representative password, and your downloader password. You can also change your passwords, but these are the ones that are originally issued. So you may want to maybe do a screen print of it, write the numbers down. You're going to need to refer to them as you log into different sections. So you got all that, and now, oh, they're going to two-factor verify you. So go ahead, put in your phone number, verify the code, and log in. It's a good idea to do the two-factor authorization. So okay, so we do the two-factor authorization. We're waiting for FTC to get through to us. You know that we've been accepted. We got our numbers. That's fine. You got your numbers. You got your passwords. That's great. What are you going to do with it when you get it? So we got through the first step. The second step is getting you set up with the list, right? So let's get set up on the list. That was the instructions on how to get through to the list. I had them help me, and that list is a dynamite list to be referring back to if you get stuck. So you're going to log in. You're going to log in as your representative and use your representative password there. And you're going to manage your new subscription. So we're going to go in there and we are going to select subscribe to area codes or add area codes to your current subscription. Okay, good. This is where we want to go. If you have an idea of your area codes that you would like to use, this is where you're going to use them. There are 15 area codes between Illinois and Indiana. And because I'm going to keep this on the free side, we're only going to do 5 area codes to get started just to keep it free. And that's the key. You're going to get billed if you go over your skis on this thing. So let's just start with 5 area codes and we'll work from there. Okay. So you get into the manage renew subscription page. Remember, you're only picking 5. So I went through this, I picked through it. Yeah, I had to shrink the screen down a little bit. But go ahead and pick the area codes that you want to uh, focus on and then hit continue. And it will give you the screen that says that you are selecting what area codes and then hit continue. That's going to get downloaded into the system and it will take about 24 hours for them to process the request. So it's like, all right, well, I don't know what I'm supposed to do here. Guess I'm supposed to wait for an email, or I'm supposed to, I don't know, said at the bottom here 3 days. Then the help form is like, well, I'm going to check on it instead of wait for an email, which is the right play to do with any vendor that you're working with. If you are expecting a turnaround time that's not met, follow it up with the vendor. And I don't care if it's realtor.com or PLA or IDFPR. If they said that there was a turnaround time that they did not meet, follow it up. That's the only way things get done. So, all right. So we're gonna. I checked. I mean, sure. All right, good. I'm in. All right. I want to manage my subscription, and I'm going to add my. Uh, um, I'm going to look at this order page. So let's look at this order page that they gave us. This is what I ordered. My area codes are here, all my subscription. My this SAN number is the number they assign you, and they also assign it with an expiration date. Remember the expiration date. You need to get into this database at least once every 6 months. All right, so let's go check some numbers. We're going to log in. We're going to use our organization number. It's always the same, but we're going to go through downloader and we're going to use our downloader password that you saw when you got authorized. So we're going to do that. And it says, all right, change list download, or we can interactive phone number search. Now, if you have a list of phone numbers you want to dump into the system, they will run it for you. Today, we are just going to look at just one phone number. Let's see what we can do about getting a couple of phone numbers looked up and verified. So I'm going to use my cell phone. I already know that years ago I did this thing. Might be a good time to check, right? So I'm going to use my cell phone and I'm going to hit submit. And sure enough, I'm registered. So that's how easy it is. Once you get through the system and get yourself set up, it's easy to do. Don't let it throw you. It is not something that you should fear. It's actually something that you should probably do maybe once a week, definitely before you make the phone call, but definitely, honestly, check your list every week. You won't have to do the resubscription thing every 6 months like I just did. It's like, okay, well, if I'm going to get back to making some phone calls here, I'm not going to half-ass it. I'm going to do it right. Now, as I indicated, Indiana has its own do not call list. I'm like, oh, okay, well, I think I'm in here. So you want to put in the phone number, 10 digits, no dashes. If you think it's wireless, click wireless and then verify. It might be a landline. It will tell you if it's not a landline or not wireless and it will come back and say, hey, 847-508-0652 is currently on the do not call list. And it turned out to be wireless. Well, duh. Okay. So it's that easy to stay out of trouble. And if we just did it right the first time and played by the rules, we would be looking at a lot less changes in this industry, which is at the absolute wrong time when it comes to being a consumer. And we need to make sure that we take care of our consumers to the highest and best ability that we have. And that would be to be using this do not call list. I think you agree. It's better to stay out of trouble, knowing where the trouble is going to appear, than to go through it and ask for forgiveness. Because when you ask for forgiveness, you ask for your license to be revoked. So, with that, I'm going to do another deep dive on the Can Spam Act. You can watch for that real soon, but keep close. There are some people out in this world who want to teach brokers better ways of doing the business to keep more money in the business than to give it to the FTC. You know what I mean? But yes, check in with me anytime. You got my phone number through that through that demonstration, or you can just text 85377 and type in Dan at exit, and I can get back to you that way. Today, make it your best to be your best, and it won't ever let you down. Anytime you need me, put me to work. Bye now.